right, so I'm here. I was jumping off of another live session, and so it's kind of crazy when I'm trying to do live sessions, and then I'm going from one recorded to a live to another live, and I had to slip out, and I didn't make it back in time, but wow. So what do we have going on today? Well, it's pretty simple. Things are changing. And for you Outlanders, what we've seen today is some pretty fantastic news. Now, it's not everything that you would want to see, but we're on the right track. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about in the live session today. Okay, so what are we talking about? What we're talking about is the announcements. There were two today. One was with respect to the entry of people that have valid confirmations of permanent residence and the fact that now they are eligible to travel. Okay. The second announcement was some softening of the requirements for individuals who are coming back to Canada with respect to the need to quarantine. Okay. And with respect to the actual COVID hotels when you're flying in. And we're going to talk about both of those things in our live Q&A today. And why is this important? Well, you guys, it's important. And let me just flip my screen around and I'll show you what I'm referring to here. I think I'm just going to flip this back. Okay. So this is the first thing that I wanted to share with you guys. And we're going to make sure that this is really fast. We don't need to spend a lot of time on this, but there is so much misinformation out there. And people I just know are going to be misinterpreting what this is saying. Okay, so when we go through here, you can see, actually I'm going to just drop back here to the next page. Okay, so you can see right here, individuals approved for permanent residence. Here's the key: approved for permanent residence may travel to Canada as of June 21st. There's a couple things that you need to really focus on. The backgrounder, blah, 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 great. We know at this stage that only people with valid COPRs issued on or before March 18th, 2020, my goodness, who had a valid confirmation of permanent residence issued before March 18th and it's still valid? Probably no one, but they were the only ones that were exempt from the travel restrictions. So up until now, even if you had a confirmation of permanent residence that was issued after March, so basically March 19th, you couldn't travel. The travel restrictions did not allow you to get on a plane and travel. Well, those who held a valid COPR issued after March the 18th, 2020, could only come to Canada if they met another exemption or were coming from the US to settle permanently in Canada. So you folks that are outside of Canada, you were just stuck until this moment. And what you need to realize is that, yes, there is a long way that still has to go. So don't be deceived by all those people saying that it's just open season and now everything's going to change and now the government's going to be doing rounds of invitations for outside of Canada. That is not going to happen yet. I do not foresee on Wednesday an open draw happening yet. But let's keep looking at this announcement. Helping applicants with expired and expiring COPRs. So you can see here a COPR's validity, which can last for up to 1 year. That's why I say who in their right mind still has a valid COPR after March 18th, 2020. I'm actually going to drop this down a little bit so that you guys can see this a little bit better. I'm going to raise up the bottom here and I'm going to drop this down just so you can see it a little bit better. Then I know where I'm showing you there. That's probably good there. Okay. So basically you can see here, a COPR's validity can last for up to 1 year. It's often tied to your medical. You can see right here, which they confirmed, which many people have talked about, but it's nice to see them actually confirming that for everyone. However, many applicants were not able to travel before their COPRs expired due to COVID and all of the related stuff, which we know. We've talked about that and lived that over the last year. IRCC has been working with applicants who were already exempt from the travel restrictions to reissue them COPRs. Great, so they've already done that. But for applicants with expired COPRs issued after March 18th, More information on when and how to obtain a new COPR will soon be available on IRCC's website. So stay tuned. If you're one of those individuals that's been trapped overseas who has an expired COPR, IRCC will be contacting you to get it sorted out. You can see here individuals whose COPRs has expired should not book flights or attempt to travel until you receive a new COPR from IRCC. So it looks like they are intending to issue new ones and not just issue travel letters. Personally, I think that's kind of a waste. I wish they would just send out a notification that the old expired COPRs are still valid and here's the letter. But guess what the problem is? The problem is the airlines. They don't get it. They don't understand. They don't read the program delivery instructions. They don't read these announcements like we all do, where we live and breathe these things. The airlines don't. They just don't allow you to board. And those of you who were issued confirmations of permanent residence back in October or November of last year, when you thought, hey, now I can travel, and even you that were issued letters saying, yes, you can travel with an expired COPR, many of you ran into those same issues when they started doing that before. So this is the world that we're in right now, okay? Now, a couple things I want to dive into here. You can see safe and gradual arrival of new PRs to Canada. So they're talking about the safety of Canada, health. The Canadians' health and safety is super important. All people traveling to Canada, including those approved for PR, this is the key here, must comply with the COVID health measures and requirements upon arriving into Canada. We'll get into this in this announcement right here with the first phase. We'll address that in a little bit, but I want to go through this first, okay? So once you've got, you can see all travelers must follow the requirements for quarantining and abiding by the health obligations. But you can see right here, the changes to the travel restrictions complement the temporary pathway to permanent residence for those already hard at work in Canada. Great. So now this is where they're like patting themselves on the back, which you can't see me patting myself on the back, to ensure we continue to have our labor force needs met and our economic recovery is well in hand. Well, you can see here, they're given other information. PRs in Canada will help to bolster our immediate labor market needs, blah, blah. They make arrangements and uproot their family before settling in Canada in our current environment where we may not feel safe to travel, and by allowing more time. So once again, they're saying, look, guys, this is not happening in a lightning fast manner. We are going to go through things methodically. And you guys have seen the battle. Those of you who've seen the battle between the US and Canada on the border opening, I'll be honest, I was extremely frustrated that the US-Canada border didn't open or isn't going to open tomorrow. I was extremely frustrated that both the Canada and US have decided to extend for another 30 days until July 21st. And then that's where you and I are going to watch this super carefully to see exactly what's going to happen. My daughter's down in school in Idaho. All of my family have both vaccinations, and I was hoping that I'd be able to go down and watch her graduation and participate on on July 21st, but it ain't happening. So I'm not going to fly down. We need to drive down, pick up all of her stuff, bring her back, so we may not be able to make it. So I was really, really hoping that they were going to open it up, but they chose not to. But you guys are all going to watch to see what's going to happen on July the 21st. Then we'll really, really know what's going to happen. But let's continue going through here. So they're all, by allowing more time for reasonable numbers of new immigrants to settle and begin their integration, we can better prepare for Canada's economic future. That, you guys, is code for we're going to see more CEC. That's what it's code for. We're not quite ready to have a whole bunch of people coming from other countries that maybe don't have the same, health restrictions and self-isolation and lockdowns and everything that we've done that maybe are somehow going to bring the virus and all the variants to Canada. You guys know that you have to have tests. You guys know the obligations and expectations to quarantine for 14 days. And so when you have all of those, there are significant protections put into place. But for our government, they are still focused on the fact that there is a chance. and they don't even want to open up a chance. So they're taking it slow. Permanent residents are also likely to have supports in place once they arrive here, family, supportive employers, and resettlement agencies, and that means the means to ensure they comply with public health measures. That's why they're not opening it up to everyone. Back up to the top once again, okay? So you can see right here, it talks about starting June 21st, 2021, any foreign national who holds a valid confirmation of permanent residence may travel to Canada. Full stop. Okay, so that's step one. That's what's happening with those who hold valid confirmations of permanent residence. You guys watch overseas. You will see immigration will be reaching out to you. We now are going to see applications that are starting to be finalized. What this means is the wheels are now going to start to turn with the processing of overseas applications. You are now going to start to see your overseas applications that have been languishing for months and months and months. Now you're going to start to see them finalized. You're going to start to see passport requests coming in. And until they make any significant changes to the process, it's still going to require you submitting your passport and a visa being imprinted in that passport. So that's the good news for all of you overseas candidates who have had your lives put on hold. Now for you, the wheels are starting to turn, which is wonderful news. Are they going to start FSW draws? I personally don't think so until after we see these travel restrictions lifted. July 21st, that's when I'm going to see more of the actual rounds of invitations. Now, it's possible that they could surprise us. You guys all know who in the right mind would have anticipated 176, draw 176, where CEC saw the round of invitations dropped to a pass mark of 75 CRS points. Who would have anticipated that? Not I. What was it? 27,332 invitations extended? No one would have anticipated it. So that is what we're dealing with right now. Okay, let's jump back here. So now we know if you are the holder of a valid confirmation of permanent residence, as of today, June 21st, you can board a plane and fly to Canada. You still have to abide by all the restrictions. You still have to abide by filling out your ArriveCan app. You have to have your settlement plan in place. I think I'm going to re-release our little tool. So I actually created a course which I pulled down on how to complete your travel restrictions. I think we're going to reopen it again now that the government is actually allowing you guys to come. But that, as long as you comply with all the requirements and you have a valid COPR, you can travel. If you do not yet have that valid COPR or yours is expired, then you need to wait for immigration to contact you to get a new COPR issued to you. All right. Okay. So that's the notification. If you don't meet the requirements, no, it doesn't mean that you can just get on a plane and travel. Ignore all those people out there that are saying, hey, the borders are completely open and now you can come to Canada. We're on the right track, but we're not there for anyone except the COPR holders. All right. Now let's shift over here to the other announcement. And this all fits in, you guys. It all is, you can see it's phase one. It's the first phase. This is now the time period where you guys need to start watching the borders carefully. Start watching these announcements. Start watching what Public Health Agency of Canada has to say. They're the ones driving the ship, not IRCC. They're the ones who determines who's going to come to Canada, who's not, and when they're going to ease the border measures. Once again, the US put unbelievable pressure on the Canadian officials. You guys have no idea how much pressure the US put on Canada to open up the borders to travel for summer, right? July 21st is already cutting into a very, very short summer. And Canada said, no, we're not going to open it. And you know what? I have to give them credit for standing up and making decisions based on what they feel is in the best interests of Canada. Do I agree with it? No, I personally don't. I actually think that it's important for us to open the borders, but still maintain the requirements to quarantine and things like that, but to allow for people to go back and forth if they abide by the rules. Okay. Open season, not having masks, not worrying about COVID tests. I don't agree with any of that, but I think measures could have been put in place to allow or to ease really much more than what they said they've eased the travel restrictions between the countries. Yes, I've got my own motivations with my daughter attending school down there, but still I think I would have liked to have seen them open up. And in all honesty, I would have even liked to have seen the US unilaterally open up their border, but there's respect across that border. So cross our fingers, July 21st. So we're June 21st right now. Today is the day that the previous order in council expired. And so you can see the government of Canada is taking a responsible, precautionary approach at the border by continually monitoring available data and scientific evidence to protect the health and safety of Canadians. That there, you guys, is code for we will not be bullied. We will not be told, what we should do regardless of the economic consequences. There's nothing in here about the benefits of economic, that would flow to the economies of each country by opening the borders. It's all about scientific data and the protection of health and safety in Canada. Let's go down forward here. So today, Government of Canada is announcing the details of the first phase of this approach to ease the border. Okay. Now, this is so important, you guys. These cautious adjustments are now possible because of the success of the vaccine rollout in Canada and Canadians following public health measures. I think we're over 75% of Canadians have their first vaccine. Like I said, my family, we have both of our vaccines. But here, beginning July 5th, all right? So it's June 21st today, July 5th, fully vaccinated travelers who are permitted to enter Canada. This is the part that I want you guys to focus on. I'm going to ring this bell a couple times so that you guys listen to me. I'm actually going to turn that sound effect up and I'm going to ring it a couple times here. Okay? What this means is not only do you have to be fully vaccinated, which myself and my family are, who are permitted to enter Canada. What does that mean? It means that the travel restrictions are still in place. Even if you're fully vaccinated as a traveler, you cannot just jump on a plane and come to Canada unless you meet the exemptions to the travel restrictions. Who's the most recent exempt? Those with valid confirmations of permanent residence. They are now able to travel, and you can see here, fully vaccinated travelers who are permitted to enter Canada will not be subject to the federal requirement to quarantine or take a COVID-19 test on day 8. Okay? In addition, fully vaccinated travelers arriving by air will not be required to stay at a government-authorized hotel. So this basically means that the restrictions that they put in place on arrival in Canada are being softened. And you can see here, it does not distinguish Canadian citizens or permanent residents. It applies to fully vaccinated travelers. Full stop. So that is the opening. Fully vaccinated travelers arriving by land or by air, this is where these exemptions apply. And then there are some other specific things. To be considered fully vaccinated, a traveler must have received the full series of vaccine or combinations of vaccines accepted by the Government of Canada. You can see here currently those vaccines are manufactured by Pfizer, Moderna, AstraZeneca, and Johnson & Johnson. That's it. If you do not have your vaccinations in accordance with these particular vaccines, then these exemptions will not apply to you. So you can see how cautious they are. Travelers can receive their vaccines in any country and must provide documentation supporting their vaccination in English, French, or with a certified translation. All right. And you can see once again, this is where they're highlighting it for all of you. For these new measures to apply to them, fully vaccinated travelers must, right here, must still meet all other mandatory requirements, including pre and on arrival testing, as well as whether or not you can even get on the plane and travel because you're subject to the latest round and the latest extension of travel restrictions. And what are the changes? The only change, once again, you guys, is to now allow people with a valid confirmation of permanent residence to be able to travel. All the other provisions have basically remained the same. At least I'm not aware of any other change. If I'm wrong, I welcome your comments below. All right. And that's basically it. You know, that's basically it at a very, very high level. So there you go, guys. I wanted to let you all know about that. I wanted to keep it kind of short and sweet and to the point. If you have any particular questions that you have about these and the ability to travel and everything, you can start posting your questions now. I'd love to hear your take, get your thoughts on this. But at this stage, this is the beginning. This is the first part, the first stage, the first phase of Canada reopening and life returning to normal. All right. Okay. And so can a COPR person from India travel today? That's a fantastic question. The travel restrictions, I have not seen. That's a great question. I don't have an answer to that one. Just give me 1 second. I'm just going to pull up. I'm going to pull up the actual, let's see if I can even find it. So if I shift my screen over here, you guys can see that this is the actual order in council right here. This order in council basically extends. So on June the 21st, it extends once again these provisions. See if we can update it right here. And we're going to scroll right to the bottom. All of these basically stay the same. And as we scroll down to the very bottom, and this is the actual order in council, you guys. So you can see here, effective period beginning Eastern Daylight Time on the day in which this is made, and it's valid until July 21st, 2021. So this is where it applies. Now, the question becomes, I'm going to flip back here and let's see if there's any update. Maybe some of you already know the answer to this because I haven't looked it up. Okay, let's see if there's an update. Extended. Let's see here if they have an official statement here. Okay. Let's flip back and let's see. So if we continue down here, so this was the notification, June 21st. And if we scroll down, I was just searching, our government continues to closely monitor. Let me slide this over so you guys can see the whole thing here. Okay. So our government continues to closely monitor traveler positivity rates upon entry to Canada to help protect Canadians. Today, we announced that we will be eliminating pre-departure temperature screening for international travelers coming to Canada. Also, given the number of COVID cases continue to be very high in India, we have extended our flight restrictions for this country. We will continue to assess the evolving situation and determine appropriate action going forward. So this is the announcement today. Because the orders in council are valid till the 21st of July, 2021, I would therefore suspect that for in this situation, even though you have a valid COPR, you're not going to be able to travel or fly out of India if you're there. So the answer, based on what we've all seen there, is no. Okay. And Kit says, hey, been up all night because it's easier than waking up at 5:35 in the morning, New Delhi. Congratulations to all Outlanders. Yes, it is very positive news. It means the wheels are moving. Okay, Francis says, hello, Mark, proud Express Entry DIY course student here from the Philippines. Thank you, Francis. I just finished. You know what, guys? We've had one day where we did our first live masterclass for those who are interested in the Express Entry course. There is still time where one day, missing one day's live session, where you have access to everything, you can still go to the Canadian Immigration Institute if you want to get in right now. And I'm going to tell you, those of you who are in Canada do not want to take a chance. You want to make sure. What does this mean? Well, I guess we could talk about a few other things. What it means is that we're uncertain what the future is for CEC, how soon they're going to start to shift to open. So now is your time. If you have any options or any availability of getting your profile in the Express Entry pool, do it now. There could be the draw on Wednesday, could be the last one, or Thursday, whichever they choose to do it. If you go to the Canadian Immigration Institute, you can see right here our courses. The TR2PR Pathway is still open, and there are tons of people still joining this group. It's a great group. But the Express Entry course right here, July 21st to the 25th, you can click right on here, get the course. We'll let it load up here. And it will take you to an explanation. You can watch the video. You can read all of the previous testimonials. And I'm not sure, do we have one for you? I'm not sure if Francis is on here. Maybe, did I use yours, Francis? I think, Francis, you were one of the original ones, and I continued to recycle them every time I had a new group go in. So anyways, you can see all the previous testimonials, FAQs, and then you can log in and you can register right now. And I am guiding this group. So $347 US is the price. Not only do you get this, you get access to all of the course material. So get over there, check it out, log in, and benefit from it. Okay, let's see who else we've got questions from here. We'll do a few questions and then we'll wrap it up because I didn't want this video to be too long. Apparently people don't like 1 hour long videos. Okay, great to see you, Francis. Okay, Iman says, let's see what we have here. So Iman says, my medical will expire in August and I submitted my CECPR application in April. Do I have to do my medical again? Thanks. Immigration will tell you. What we've seen from the TR2PR pathway, that sometimes they are waiving those medicals. So if you're in Canada CEC, don't run off and get the medical done again. Okay, Vishal says, do we have to declare study permit refusal and background declaration form? Is it necessary? 100%. If you don't, that will subject you to misrepresentation. Hey, Akash, good to see you. We've got Amaro. Hello, Amaro. Oh, look at that. Joe's there. He says, great class today. Furiously calculating our work hours. Awesome. Joe was in the class that we just finished. He just joined me. Awesome. Anna says, hey, good to see you. And Ralph is connecting in. Good to see you, Ralph. Okay, Tanvi says, can expired COPR holders from the US travel? We called Canada Border Agency and they said that they will not allow entry. No, you need to have a valid COPR and immigration will reach out to you. Okay, Jerwin says, applying to TR2PR, my wife has an ongoing CAC. Do I need to mention in my TR2PR application? If you look at all of the questions, one of the questions it asks is, have you ever been refused? It doesn't say what other applications have you submitted. I'm trying to think if there's any place where it says or wants to know if you've submitted another application. And I'm not aware of anywhere. So the short answer is probably no. Nothing comes off the top of my head where you would need to disclose that you've got a CEC application in the queue. And Jerwin, remember, even if you did, it doesn't matter. You're fully able to do it. If you're considering to apply through the TR2PR pathway, I would strongly encourage you, my friend, to slide over here. And I'm a horrible marketer because I just don't know how to get the message out to the masses. But go right here and you can register for the TR2PR pathway and it's 50% off right now. So basically what that means is when you subscribe to the TR2PR pathway course, you're going to get 50% off of the $347 US. So you actually would get it for $173.50. Log in, join it. It is full of just a ton of people. It's quite an awesome group because everybody is all waiting to see what's going to happen. There's lots of communication, lots of sharing. It is so cool. And on Wednesday, I'm going to have the first person that has been has received their notification that their confirmation of permanent residence is moving forward. Well, their finalization of their PR. So he's going to join me. He's at the very end of his TR2PR. And for those of you who are going through essential worker, if that's what you're doing, Jerwin, definitely subscribe. Okay. All right. Here's a good, interesting Mohammed. Received AOR. Forgot to mention Canada. Visa refusal. Make sure that you get in there. I don't care what immigration says. Do your very best to try to notify them using your AOR. Okay. Because that can result in misrepresentation. They are cruel and heartless. Okay. Raymond says, think they're going to finalize the application for those that are outside Canada now? Yep, just like I said. All right, let's zip through here. Okay, Ferry says, when is the course beginning tonight? The express entry. It's already began. We did it from 5 to 6 right before I started the live, but don't worry. You can still get in, Ferry. All of the sessions are recorded. You have access to them for life. Even though the master classes that I do are going to be 5 and they're going to come to an end on Friday, 1 hour every night, 5 p.m. Mountain Time is where you can join the group. And for the people, the subscribers, it is a member-only Facebook group just for the subscribers for the June 21st to the 25th cohort. So, but you, trust me, Ferry, you will not have missed anything. You can still jump in and get access to it. Okay, Emil says, but people in new draws won't have PR until next year. That's how it always was. 6 months processing. It's June right now. So in the best of circumstances, Emil, it's returning back to the way it always was. And in the vast majority of cases, it was 6, 7 months. So nothing new there, Emil. Absolutely. Okay, Myrna says, I'm in Canada, have an FSW app, I'm eligible for CEC. Should I cancel my FSW and open up a CEC one? Myrna, I'm going to ring this bell right there and tell you to book a consult. That's not something that I can tell you to do, unless I know a whole lot more about your situation. Okay, yes, it was right before. Okay, what about spousal open work permit? The restrictions are still the same, you guys. Non-essential, okay? Non-essential trips, whether it is considered optional or discretionary, are not permitted, and a spousal open work permit, any open work permit, are subject to the same restrictions. Nothing has changed for that. Okay, I love this. Okay, let's see here. Yes, I understand, Amaro. He says, scientific evidence? Seriously? The federal panel made several recommendations. Still, the government only applied one. It's frustrating. I agree. I don't blame you in any way, Amaro, for that comment. Okay, TR2PR Pathway estimate time for graduate stream. Watch on Wednesday morning, 10 a.m., right here in the Canadian Immigration Institute. As a part of my live session on Wednesday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time, I'm inviting a special guest to join me who has already reached the end stage of his TR2PR pathway. So, when? Right now for some people. Yes, it is totally unpredictable, but people are coming through right now. You're very welcome, Yuvesh. Okay, let's see. We've got Vishvesh says, I've already for TR2PR applied for express entry under CEC last night. It showed I'm eligible, but got rejected within 10 minutes saying your CRS score is 0. What shall I do? Book a consult, Vishvesh, and we can look at it and figure out what the heck happened, because that is not normal. Okay, Alejandro says, I rent an Airbnb and I usually change from time to time. Can I put in my EE profile and mailing address my company's address in Toronto instead of the Airbnb? Sure. As a mailing address, absolutely you can. No problem with that. Okay, Suraj says, can ULU vaccinated post-grad work permit holders come to Canada without quarantine? Remember, you guys, if you are not meeting the travel exemptions, then it doesn't matter how many vaccines you have. And when it comes to jobs, post-grad work permit holders who are trapped outside because they don't have a valid job are still under the same predicament they were before, with their trip being considered optional because they don't have a job. And that's probably still the case with you, Suraj. Yeah, and Kit, I answered that question. So unfortunately, it looks like, yep, there we go. Fate says you can't. Good job, guys. Okay. Youngest says, can my mom from France come to see me to help me with my move as I'm moving from Sudbury to Ottawa? I am on a work permit and my mom is fully vaccinated. I've applied for PR. Nyanga, I'm going to ring the bell right there because I want to know a whole lot more. Okay. Okay. Hi, Mark. This measure apply to those who is fully vaccinated and hold a valid ETA. Caesar, if you're coming as a visitor, nope, you're not going to be admitted. You still have to meet the travel restrictions. And right now, visitors are not eligible. Okay, let's see what else we have here. Looking for questions. We'll get to a couple more. Okay, and Kit says, one has to take an indirect flight if traveling from India, but do we have to wait longer to reissue of COPR since India is specifically banned? Yeah, I think so. I think there is going to be a little bit of a lengthier time because remember, officers still have to process those in person. Like there still has to be someone to take your passport, issue the permanent resident visa and get it back to you. And that's one of the problems when COVID rates are high. It's not as safe for officers to go back to India. Okay, for TR2PR, is a Canadian PCC required? No, RCMP are not required. I don't care how many people out there are getting requests to get RCMP clearances. The reality is, no, it is not a mandatory requirement of your application. It's not mandatory for any permanent resident application. If they ask for it, then get it, but don't waste your time getting it in advance. Okay, we'll answer a couple more and then we're going to wrap this up. Okay, Myrna says, does that mean that fully vaccinated foreign worker in Canada exempt from the quarantine? Potentially. Potentially. So ultimately, it says that it applies to anyone. And if you're fully vaccinated, you are eligible under the travel restrictions to travel to Canada, then those provisions would apply to you, Myrna. Okay, FSW draw in July? Maybe the end. Maybe the end. Huang Pham says, hello, Mark. Does it mean that FSW will resume this week or July thanks to this border reopening plan? No, I do not think that that the FSW will resume this week. I think personally that it's going to be another CEC draw, although it's possible. Anything could happen. But my feeling is that it's going to be another PNP CEC, and then we'll see for July. We'll see what happens. Okay, one more question. Okay, we'll go with them on. Hello, Mark. You're the best. Nothing rest. I am CC applicant and applied in April. Called RCC last week and got to know them eligibility and security pass, security in progress. Congratulations, my friend. Okay. Let's see who else we have here. Okay, so we've got Elias. Okay, I'll finish with Elias because he's got a question. Thank you, Mark, for your hard work. FSW processing resuming. PPR is incoming. Yes, that's exactly what it means. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in once again to the live session here. We'll just wrap it up here. And those of you who have tuned in to watch, hopefully this was helpful. Definitely this is a positive announcement. It's something that we can build on and watch the travel restriction. July 21st is now the date. And if it looks like, and as I've said in the past, Canada and the US, if it looks like they're opening things up, then that's going to be a good sign for everybody else that things are returning to normal. But congratulations for you COPR holders and those who will be issued confirmations of permanent residence. You guys, your tickets are now being punched. So I'd love to hear that you're getting your COPRs. Post them in the group when we go live on Wednesday. I want to hear from you guys. Thanks so much. This is Mark Holthe, Canadian immigration lawyer, ex-immigration officer, and former high school teacher, wishing you guys all the best as you navigate this crazy world that we call Canadian immigration. Take care, guys.